So who wants local food? My question is, who doesn't? You know, it's the best food you can get. And who doesn't want to feed their kids the best food you can feed them?
Who wants local food? I'm not sure.
Just the awareness that local is fresher and the pressure that it puts on the environment to ship things across the country.
All right. I'm going to let you handle most of this one.
So I hope parents are in favor of having local food available for school, for kids in their school, for school lunches. I think it's a great way for students to be exposed to different kinds of vegetables that we tend to grow on diversified vegetable farms. I also know for some students, school lunches are probably a really important meal for students to get good nutrition and develop good eating habits. And certainly for farmers, certainly as a farmer, I'd love to have schools, purchase my local produce.
We talk about building relationship with chefs, but why not build relationships with the food director, invite them out here for the season of fall, for the season of spring, talk about possibilities of what we could do for you.
I hope that everybody would want local products in the schools. It's just, it's good for your local economy, it's good for the farmland around us, it's good for farmers, it's good for the students. I know for a fact that lots of parents are interested in getting more and more healthy food into school, so that's one segment. Myself as a grower, my entire sort of life mission is to grow more food for the local community. So here's a big way to do that, to get like 500 kids in one shot, eating your produce that you've grown. So that's, for me, that's definitely very satisfying.
I think if people aren't presented the question, they don't really take the effort to think about it themselves. But I feel like in the last few years, there's been a movement where people are more aware of local products being fresher, which means more nutritional value and less pressure on the environment from having to ship things across the country or from other countries.
Small certified organic farms like us rely a lot on handwork, so there are people who we have to pay who are out in the field. So also the margins for growing vegetables are very small, so we might invest a lot of money in a particular crop, paying our farm workers, but not make very much on it at all. So finding that sweet spot for what we can charge, what's not too expensive, and what's expensive enough is a challenge. We look at things like what other people are charging in the area for wholesale prices. So we'll look at other wholesale price lists. We'll look at what distributors are charging, and if we can make it work, we ballpark it in that general area.
Okay, so for me, the biggest costs for production are labor, costs of land, and all of the other infrastructure that I have to build in Connecticut, where I'm starting a farm. Also, the other challenge is that, we have a very vulnerable ag economy, so there aren't a lot of suppliers that are local and regional. And that means when I need certain inputs, I have to pay for transportation costs from far away. And I think it's tough when there are a lot of local suppliers that have gone out of business, or there are just not enough farms around to support that ag economy.
Because they're taking some decent volume from us, I'm able to hold the prices per head at a lower rate than we sell head lettuce in any other of our outlets. Again, because it's sort of a voluminous distribution, it's still all sort of one process for us. And so we're able to hold our prices down a little bit lower so that the schools can afford it.
Right now, a big thing I know is Hartford Schools has a grant where they are sourcing from local farmers. And I think they want local food because it's fresh. And what's exciting about Hartford is that it's such a diversity. So me being an ethnic grower, I randomly got someone calling me looking to grow pak choi for the fall.
So we're like any other business where we have to figure out what our costs are. You know, we have labor, we have the land we own,
Infrastructure.
the taxes, the cost of our tractors, everything, and we calculate it all out. We spend our off seasons doing that, so we know what we need to get for each of our crops that we grow
To break even.
to break even.
Farmers are nothing but flexible. We run up into challenges on a daily, weekly basis that we always have to deal with. So I feel like farmers are great at being very flexible.
So farming is, inherently pretty risky, especially at a really small scale. And that means, I try to be really agile.
So for as long as I've been selling to the local school districts here, I've worked to create a relationship with my food service directors where they understand what we're up against as farmers, and I understand what they're up against in having to make sure that when they have product on their menu, that product, they have time to procure that product, whether it comes from me or not. And then the other part of my relationship with that is that sometimes I have a crop that's just got a ton of productivity to it, and if I call them up and I say, hey, I'm going to have this available and they can work it in, they do. If they can't, they can't, and I find other avenues for it. But just having that communication, that open communication is key.